a lot of people think that the struggle to success is the bad part. You know, everybody thinks success is gaining success is the greatest part of it. But, you know, I've come to believe, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys, you know, feel this way as well. The struggle is really the best part of it, you know, because it really pushes you and it makes you, it turns you into something that you never thought you could be. And it really makes your mind readapt to become a different version of you, you know.
Brothers and sisters, we can't thank you enough for all your love, your support, and your faithfulness. It's been brought to my attention, if you really want to do something to bless us, to thank us, apparently simply hitting the like button on YouTube would be more impactful than what I ever knew, let alone subscribing to us on YouTube if you're not already. And then over on Spotify and Apple, please leave us a review. All of your listening and your comments to us mean the world to us. And do us a favor and just hit like on YouTube and leave us reviews on Spotify and Apple. And we're going to continue to serve you with our whole heart. Thank you so much.
Hey, what's up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another edition of the Tattoo Guardians podcast. It's me, Hip, and I'm accompanied by my two normal co-defendants, Mr. Matt Clemmer and Joshua Carlton. And on today's episode, we got a very special guest, friend, brother, companion, amazing tattoo artist, and just so happens to be hosting an up-and-coming amazing tattoo convention. You may have heard of it. It's the Huntsvegas Tattoo Convention in Huntsville, Alabama. So today we're accompanied with Rock. How are you, Rock?
What's up, man? I'm great, man. Glad to be here. Finally, here on the...
My
we're so stoked to
God.
have you here.
The Errick Long, otherwise known as our brother Rock, has finally joined us at the table at the Tattoo Guardians. So fucking excited to have you here, in case you can't tell.
I think that's both ways.
Man, dude. So good.
So how long have you guys, I've known Rock for, I guess I really got to know him, I think about a year ago at Evergreen last year. Like, we've always been online friends, but we really got to, you know, actually talk. Actually, I confronted him about how he needed to eat better to watch out for diabetes. Yeah. His wife actually kind of cornered me on that and was like, definitely need you to talk to my husband. So I think that's kind of how it started. But
how's that going, Rock?
Right.
It's going a lot better. She's
good.
You're kicking my butt about it, you know, so.
Good.
Hey, you can be honest with us. We'll edit it out if you want us to.
Weren't you eating Twinkies when we were like waiting in the waiting room?
Oh, I still eat Twinkies, man. I'm still eating. You know, take a little sip here and eat a little candy here.
Right.
I think we did it just last weekend. I took the guys out, the crew out to Gatlinburg, Tennessee, so we could have a vacation together. And I sat around eating sweets and tacos and playing video games.
Nice.
My God. I mean, you took your whole crew out to Gatlinburg?
Yeah, man. They all had a good time.
Jeez.
Man, Matt, why ain't you taking notes?
You know, come on, man. How many, for real? That's beautiful. How many tattoo artists out there and shop owners are listening right now? How often have you ever taken your whole shop on vacation? Or, in this case, to Gatlinburg, Tennessee? I haven't once. So already that's fucking awesome, Rock.
Yeah, it's one of those things where we do it to kind of build our relationships with each other. And, you know, they kind of give me ideas of what they're looking for in the future. And we kind of go over and discuss those things and celebrate each other's lives, because a lot of these guys are younger and they're having children. And I'm glad I'm on the other side of that.
I choose Hawaii, Matt.
Yeah.
Hawaii sounds like a good place where we can bond.
Dude, okay, it's a good idea.
That's a solid plan, though, just for like, you know, fellowship. Riley and Aaron do that a lot with their crew. They've taken them like tons of places. In fact, when I first met them, they took me camping with the whole shop. And you really do see a big connection. It's like Rock was saying, like, it gives you a really easy outlet for them to kind of like talk about future things, even complaints, whatever. And everybody kind of just grows together. I think just the fellowship is really important.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Rock sits them all down at the campfire and starts handing out Twinkies one by one, getting ready.
But see, like, if you don't get a Twinkie, that means you're fired. You're like, do you remember what was that one movie? It was like, fuck you, you're cool, fuck you.
Yeah.
Which would be super uncomfortable because you're still invited, so you're still there for 3 or 4 days knowing you're fired.
I'll remember that for my next trip.
Yeah.
So I think that Matt knew Rock a little bit before I did, because he was telling me, because he joined TBM and was like, "There's a fucking sweetheart in here. His name's Errick. He's amazing. He's got a shop in Huntsville." And then I met him through that. And I know Matt was in attendance at Huntsville last year. But I got to hang out with Rock where I think we really bonded was in Vegas last year at the Coalition of Tattoo Safety, which was fucking an amazing time.
Yes.
All we did was like co-sign each other's bullshit on buying expensive stuff to bring back with us. and I think a lot, and I think we've turned that into a tradition now. I say that it was formulated in Vegas, but it became like a trademark in Puerto Rico last year in December. And I think it's just safe to say, anytime we see each other, we're gonna go get some smell goods and fucking kick it and fucking wreck on the entire world.
Damn right. That's what we do. That's our thing now. That's how we bond, through cologne.
Just for our listeners that aren't familiar with you, how long have you been tattooing, Rock?
About a decade and a half.
Yeah. Wow. See, I would have thought you were like way up into 20 years.
Nah.
Your work is this word stellar is what comes to mind. And I also think it's neat that like I'll talk a lot about artists that seem to lean one way or the other, and like you seem to cover the gamut pretty well. I feel like maybe color's your favorite thing to do, but man, you can definitely do it all.
Definitely, man. I appreciate that, man.
Yeah, your saturation is just like through the roof. Like that's such a struggle for so many artists. It's something I struggled with for a really long time. But yeah, I see that in your work. So yeah, just a little over 10 years. That's impressive, man.
Appreciate it, man. Man, I look at your work and I'm always like, these guys are pics.
It just took me 3 years to get there.
Yeah, man.
Where can people find you if they want to look you up while they're listening to this episode?
They can find me on Instagram at rock_platinum_koi. That's PLANTIUM KOI. Also, you can find me at Platinum Koi. The app, we have an app, and we have our shop.
So you have your own app.
Yeah, man.
That's cool. I've thought about stuff like that. Like
it's
like the new way of doing websites.
You can book everything. It's really convenient. You can book everything from home. Okay. Your client doesn't have to come in. They can send everything directly through the app, and they can communicate directly through the app. So it makes everything kind of like real smooth.
I love that. We're gonna have to talk a little bit later about getting on that. That's cool, man.
Okay, cool.
Very cool. Yeah, so
where is Platinum Koi located, sir?
We're located at 4320 University Drive in Huntsville, Alabama.
Love it.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. 15 years in the game. How'd you get into the game, Rock? And was it easy?
Oh, not at all.
Yeah.
My story is a little weird. I started off as a scratcher. So we all know about those days. For some of us, for me, I went to a lot of tattoo shops here locally trying to get a job. I could draw. It actually started off with a friend of mine. I was working for the Von Braun, and a friend of mine, I went to his house, and he was like, "Hey, man, I saw those paintings and drawings in your room, and I think you should be a tattoo artist." I was like, "Man, fuck that, man. I'm not doing that. Nobody gets paid doing that stuff, man." And he was like, "Nah, man, I'll make your paycheck in a day." And I was like, "Bullshit, man." And he said, "I'll tell you what, I'll make you a bet. If I can make your paycheck in a day, you quit and you come start tattooing." And so I said, I was like, "Man, okay, what the hell over?" I go over to his house and he's buzzing away, and sure enough, he made my paycheck plus some in a day. And I was like, "Oh my God, I didn't think you could get paid doing artwork. And it went on from there to where, I started in the streets with friends, and, we were tattooing each other, and we decided to, that same guy, his name was Sean, he decided to, he asked me, he was like, hey man, you want to open up a shop? And I was like, man, I don't know anything about opening up a shop. And I was like, well, let me just look around and see if I can find a job first, man, because I don't want to, get into this thing and I don't know what I'm doing. And, I went around, asked a couple of shops, and they were like, nah, we're good, man. I showed them my artwork. They're like, nah, we're okay. So one door kept closing, each door kept closing. So I went back to them. I was like, hey, man, let's do it. And I went to a buddy of mine. We got a loan, and we opened up our first shop. And, man, I don't even want to begin to show those tattoos.
Yeah, I know exactly that feeling. I used to keep all my old tattoo pictures in a shoebox, and like every once in a while I get them out and look at them, and like they were all backwards and like just the worst garbage ever. So
oh yeah,
that was
mine
fun.
Looked like chicken scratch. Looked like two crackheads and a blind person got together.
Oh my God, man! But you got paid though. Yeah. Hey, okay. Well, and where along the line, how do you feel like you along the way you figured some things out and you got good? And did you ever have like a mentor, or has it been like you figuring it out on your own the hard way along the way? Or
it was definitely me figuring it out. It wasn't. I looked for a mentor, couldn't find one. And then one of my buddies, he was like, look, man, why don't you start just going to seminars at these conventions? And I was like, I don't know, man, my work looks pretty shitty. I don't want to do that in front of everybody and look like the class clown or whatever. And so one of the, I went to Pooch's seminar in Colorado, and then I went to Nika Artarda, and I went. One of the first ones I did was Carl Grace. He did a workshop, and man, it was beautiful. And he was just showing me so many of the things that you think you have it wrong, and then you realize, wait a minute, I had it right. I was just doing this one little thing wrong.
Yeah.
And once I realized these little small techniques that I was doing wrong with the mag, with a 15 mag, with Carl, he was like, he confirmed it for me. He was like, hey man, you're doing it right. You just need to take your time and slow down a little bit.
I think that's something I hear a lot, and like a lot of the forums where people are giving critique. That's one of the biggest things is, you'll even see people, they'll post stuff and they're like really proud of the time, right? They'll post like a mediocre tattoo and they'll be like 3 hours, you know what I mean? And it's like, what are you trying to say here? Like, what if you took 6 hours, Yeah. And usually they'll kind of get their asses handed to them. And if they're, receptive to that, they'll grow and learn from that. But a lot of times they're just like, fuck you guys, why are you hating on everybody? My shit's cool. And they don't get any better. But a lot of times that's one of the biggest things is just slow down.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I started off like that. I thought I was a shit, man, when I first started, and then
it's common.
It took a lot of humbling me down, to where I was like, one of my buddies, he was like, "Look, man, you're okay, but you're nowhere near where you need to be." And he was like, "Look, you need to study more, put your head in the sand, and stop worrying about what everyone else is doing, and focus on, getting your shit together." So
that's it. That's such good advice, especially to stop focusing on what everybody else is doing. That's such a big thing I see in this industry. They're so worried about what somebody else is doing. And I'm seeing more of it handled better. Like someone will post that on that same forum. I think you can tell they think, oh, this is going to get a good reaction. Everybody's going to back me up. And they're just like, why aren't you just drawing instead of complaining? And I love that. I love that that's kind of where we're headed,
And it's funny because like, Rock, you said back when you were shitty, you thought you were the shit, and now you are the shit, and like fucking just from experience, you're humble pie, dude. Like,
super humble.
Yeah. Well, I got a lot more to learn.
Come on.
Hell yeah.
Oh God.
I think it's a chance of growing up. I think we go through those growing stages in life where we, as we're younger, we're more egotistical and we feel like we're on top of the world. And then you get a little bit older and you get around more mature people who are more successful, and you realize, wait a minute, I'm the young cat in this bag, and I'm the guy who hasn't achieved anything. So,
right. Right. Well, it's so easy to be surrounded by sycophants. It's so easy to, have people just constantly telling you how great you are. and you start believing it. I remember talking to this artist, and he completely lived that. He'd never been to a convention, but he was like the best guy in town. King shit on Turd Island. And he went to this convention, and he just got his fucking ass handed to him, and he was just like, I never want to feel like that again. And he just put himself into gear, took art classes, humbled himself, and became a phenomenal tattoo artist. So I've definitely seen this happen a lot. It seems to be a pretty common thing in our industry, for sure. And then, so you seem like you've always been creative. You and I spent some time together in Mexico. For those listeners that remember my Mexico trip, Rock was there, and we got to spend a lot of nights just kind of hanging out and looking at this incredible ocean view and just talking about everything from tattooing to prints to actually Rock started painting there. I've got one of his paintings in my room right now, and I remember you telling me that you did some singing, even some production work. You were working on a movie. You keep yourself busy. I might be wrong, but I feel like you said you were like an opening act or something, like was it Brian McKnight?
Yeah, man. I have a twin brother, man. We started off back in when I was 18. We got signed to a record deal, and we opened up for Brian McKnight, John B. on the Cool Relax tour. Man, Frankie Beverly Mays. His manager was actually our manager, and Destiny's Child, and so many more, Casey and JoJo. And we just had fun, man. And after I realized that the music industry wasn't as what I thought it was, I kind of retreated from it and decided to go with my first love.
Nice. And you're happy tattooing? You still love it?
Man, love it. Love it to death.
Sorry, Hip, go ahead.
No, I was just going to ask, what do you mean like the music industry wasn't what you thought?
Man, it was financially, it was really hard because you don't make a lot of money. It's what they call the chicken circuit, especially when you're in R&B. You kind of tour for free, and people think you're making a lot of money, and they're screaming your name, but they don't know that the record company makes all the money. You don't make anything until you recoup what you've spent, and what they've invested into you. So, either you do that or you're out of there.
Yeah, it's crazy. We've talked about this in the past because Matt's got some history with that. There's an episode where Matt talks about, I think they were offered like $1 million record deal, but they wanted to kind of change them and make them do their own thing. If I'm misspeaking, Matt, let me know. But that's correct, right?
It was 10 million, but the number
10 million. Yeah. See, and that's the thing too, is it's easy to just be like, I'll sign in blood right now, but it's like that's $10 million, like basically a loan.
Yeah, blood money.
And they wanted to change him, and luckily Matt was smart enough to be like, wait a minute, this is not what we really want to do, because his heart was truly into it. So I think most of us on this podcast get that. Yeah,
no dollar amount is worth, to me at least, was worth the whole world knowing me as someone that I'm not. All knowing me for singing that one song that even I didn't like. They
love trying to make you sing a song you don't like.
My God, yeah. So I get it, Rock. That's awesome, though. That's beautiful. And the similarities, I too have a twin brother, and we went through that season of our lives as well, man. That's just beautiful to hear, man. I mean, already, just briefly, and the past 20 minutes, those of you who are just meeting our brother Rock, you've discovered just 15 years ago was considered a scratcher and didn't even know what he was doing, right? And had not a lot of pillars around him, right? Fast forward to today, and he runs one of the most reputable fucking badass studios in Alabama and throws one of the newest, dopest shows in this country. What beautiful transformation. What beautiful growth. And what a testament to, it doesn't matter where we start, where we come from, nearly as much as who we decide to be along the way. And my God, God only knows how many lives Rock has lived and so many lessons he's learned. But I'm honored to have you at this table with us today, brother.
Glad to be here.
Yes, man. And, when Rock and I met, for those of you who don't know, listeners, before this podcast ever existed, in the belly of the pandemic, we started a Facebook group called the Tattoo Guardians Facebook group. And at the time, we created it just as a place to try and be a source of light in such dark times and such uncertainty. We had all been shut down. We had all been out of a job, and there was no end in sight. So there was such uncertainty. And that's when we started the Tattoo Guardians podcast group. And we didn't have any answers either. We just wanted to create a place for us to come together and try and support one another through this time. You know, and one thing led to another. And I think that's where you and I initially found one another. Is that right, Rock?
Yeah, man. I actually saw you. You had made a post or something. One of my artists, he was like, "Hey, man, you need to check out Tony." He was like, "Man, you need to check out this dude, Matt Clemmer." And he was like, "Man, he just has this beautiful spirit about him." And I went online. I was like, "Okay, let me check this guy out." And I thought it was a prank at first. Like, okay, this guy can't be this goddamn happy all the time.
Yeah.
You're right.
Like Mr.
I know shit.
I was like, okay, let me meet this guy, man. Because if he's that happy, man, you know, those are the people you know I want to build a circle with. You know, so you know, one thing led to another, man. And I remember our first call, you know, for TBM, and
yes, brother,
I got to join, and it was one of the most mind blowing and defining moments in my career that not only changed my shop, but some of the way that I approach things in life.
My God. Jeez. So beautiful. Rock was one of the OGs. He was one of the first to join TBM along with Mr. Carlton. Were you brothers in the same round?
I think
together?
we were.
Or no?
I think we probably were.
Oh, yeah, it's been 2 years or whatever, but my God, yes, they were both OGs. Because I remember both of our calls. I think I talked to both of you on the same day.
Oh, wow.
You know, and you had both joined. And Rocky Brother, I even remember on that day just falling in love with your heart. But even on that call, you had shared a vision with me because you were trusting me. We were about to embark on a journey, this new thing called TBM. And so I know there was a level of faith and trust, not only from you, but from everyone joining. And back then, you know, these days I do big enrollment calls where they might be 30 people on the call and I'm talking to all 30 of them. But back in the early days, it would be just me and you talking one to one right after, right? Yeah. What an honor. And that was such an honor. But one of the visions he shared with me was the vision to throw an epic tattoo show in his city. Well, fast forward, and that has all now come to fruition, been manifested. Last year, I got to go to it. This is what is now being heard and told and known as the Huntsvegas Tattoo Show in Huntsville, Alabama. And my God, it was a wonderful show. And I know last year you weren't able to go because it overlapped with the Boise show. Mm-hmm. But this year, I think they're not overlapping and that you're going to get to go, aren't you?
I am, and I'm looking forward to it. You know, of course, it's a tattoo convention and those are dope, but I really like going to tattoo conventions where there's family at. And, you know, I said earlier, like how me and Rock have kicked it and bonded since we've known each other on our travels. But you can, you know, what Brenner told you, world-class people recognize world-class people. So there's sometimes it's like, you know, sitting there and it's like, dude, this guy was on stage with so-and-so and so-and-so, and he throws a tattoo convention, and it's like, what? You know, that imposter syndrome. What's a motherfucker like me got him as a friend for? Which is bullshit, but it's just, it just validates that, like, this is a person who has obtained some things that you would like to obtain, so fucking hang close to them because you'll learn a lot. And it just proves that, like, the good teacher is a great student because, like, he was in your program and we helped. So it's just like a iron sharpen iron scenario. And to go to these tattoo shows when you know that there's fucking family there like that, is always like, that's more important to me than like going to do a cool tattoo and win some hardware for it, you know?
Right.
And I hear his wife's got a mean fucking cooking hand in the kitchen with that Jamaican cuisine, which I'm really looking forward to.
Right on, man.
I can tell you guys this. There was nothing left. My wife cooked Saturday of the convention, and it was kind of bad. Like the musicians, they came off stage, and the poor musicians, I had to purchase their food because all the artists cleaned. I mean, each pan of food was gone. My wife makes some mean jerk chicken and oxtail. So
I was about to ask if she makes jerk chicken. I tried that for the first time a couple of years ago, and I couldn't believe how good it was.
Oh, trust me.
So I'm coming just for that.
I won't
Fuck
eat
tattooing.
Spot again after my wife.
Man.
My God. Let's talk about the show briefly. What are the dates this year for all our listeners? All walks of life. This is a show we recommend highly that you get into just to absorb and soak it all in. What are the dates of the show this year, Rock?
The dates are June 9th through the 11th at the Von Braun Civic Center, South Hall 2. And we're looking for a heavy good time. I mean, one of our special guests is Mr. Carlton here. Well, actually, all you guys are special guests on this year because you got the TBM family, the Tattoo Guardians family. I'm very excited and proud to have you guys attending and being the guys that you guys that you are to offer these artists so much knowledge and information.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm excited. I'm doing a version of my Everything I Know seminar live in person there.
That's awesome. Fuck, I don't think I knew that yet. Yeah.
Been invited to judge too, so I'll try to see if I can sneak a tattoo in there in between that jerk chicken though.
Oh man.
That's my main priority. I'm so dumb with like geographically too. Like when I first heard about it, I was like, "Oh, it's in Las Vegas."
Yeah, well,
because I didn't put it together,
Yeah. Well, you're not the only one. A lot of people thought that, And by the way, my wife is going to make sure that you eat. She's going to be looking forward to, where's Josh? He needs to eat.
Right. She did that in Mexico already. She, it's funny because she went with us when I went parasailing. She went with us just to watch, and we're like, come on. And she was like, kind of thinking about doing it, and finally we got her to do it, and she had a great time. So,
my God,
you went fishing quite a bit, didn't you? If I remember correctly.
I went out there with Riley and Aldo, and we all went fishing together. And I think first day we went with Million and his wife, and we didn't catch anything, so we came back. And the very next morning we went out there and caught some fish. I forget the name of this weird fish, but it's a warm water, and the meat wasn't very good. So,
really?
Yeah, it's real fishy.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm telling you guys, now that your passport shit's figured out, you got to go.
Yeah, man.
It was amazing, right, Rock? That was a good time.
I don't think anybody wanted to leave, man. It was just
no. Even though we were there for a full week, I was like not ready to go home. Yeah.
Can't wait to get back.
For sure.
My God.
So, and I mean, this is the only second annual one so far, and just already, even from last year's lineup to this year, how it's growing. Like there's more seminars that you've announced from other big name, heavy hitting artists, and then Pooch was at the first annual, so he'll be back Pooch this year.
Yeah, we have Steve Butcher coming in, which would be great because I know a lot of my guys want to take his class as well. We have and then like I said, man, we got you guys as a starting lineup, man, and I couldn't be more gracious to have you guys. Last year we had Saga, and he gave a really in-depth seminar at my shop, and this year we have David Brevik, who will be with us as well. So our brother David will be there.
Awesome,
nice, very cool, very cool.
Have you lived in Alabama for quite a while?
I have, on and off,
Okay.
I'm originally from Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
And I always really liked visiting Alabama. So I'm looking forward to getting back for sure. I can't remember what the weather's like there, though. Is it like pretty seasonal or?
It's sunny outside, so it's warm right now.
Okay.
Huntsville it's like a mixed bag of nuts. One day it'll snow, next day it'll rain, the next day it'll be hot as I don't know what. So it kind of changed. Around that time, it's probably going to be super nice and hot, and you'll see all the fun stuff that we have in this city.
Yeah, I woke up. I flew in from Phoenix, Arizona last night for my mother's memorial. When I left, it was warm here in Oregon, and this morning I woke up to like 3 feet of snow. So,
shoot,
yeah, it was pretty crazy.
You know, it's funny because when Josh was talking to you a minute ago about your work, saying, you know, because you had to look at your work today, you couldn't tell. And some people would assume like that dude was never a scratcher or that dude never sucked, right? And Josh used the term that you pretty much cover the gamut, you know, but I see that in your life, you know, outside of even your portfolio of just how you walk in your relationships, what you're building, that you cover the gamut in your life, in your business, as a father, as a man, as a leader. And I just want to acknowledge you today, brother, and we honor you, Rock. I appreciate all the hard work that you've put in. I love your heart of keeping a beginnership mindset at no matter what level you rise to. You know, I think it was the Apostle Paul who wrote 2/3 of the New Testament. He's the one credited to delivering unto the rest of the world the revelation knowledge of the Christos, the Christ, right? Meaning most people thought that dude knew more than the most of us. And even Apostle Paul carried the same attitude that you carry today, Rock, when he said, man, I've still got a lot to learn, you know? And same with Apostle Paul, man. And so I just appreciate who you are and how you show up in the world, man.
Appreciate you as well, brother. I mean, you know, I've gotten to learn a lot from you guys, and it's funny because I'm always like a fly on the wall when I'm in the building around. When I got to hang with each one of you individually, I learned so much, you know, like the strength that Josh has, you know, all the stuff that he goes through. And yeah, he still fights and pushes. And I'm like, God damn, that dude's strong. You know, because, you know, I've just watched you, man. You constantly work. You constantly put in the effort. And you know, it's almost like that problem is not the concept. It's not the broad lens of what's going on. And so you're able to really shine through, man. And even with Matt, Matt, you're like an energizer buddy.
Right.
Going and going and going. And I'm just like, man, if I could use some of that energy, man, to keep on pushing. And so, you know, same thing with Hip, man. I watch Hip really push himself on his artwork, man. And he's just like always doing something next phenomenal level. And it just keeps getting better. He's like the DJ Khaled of tattoos now. Another one.
I think you're onto something here. Like, you know, I'm always telling people, and it's such a touchy thing to talk about, you know, getting sick, but I always try to tell people, don't wait until something like what happened to me. Don't wait for that to happen to grab the life you're meant to have, you know. And how you said Matt's like the Energizer Bunny, like that's such a good example of if you really love and believe in something, like with all of your heart, like even if you think you might fail at it, even if you think the chances are 10% that this idea, let's say your convention, right? The Huntsvegas convention, you've dreamt this up. Even if you're like, I think there's a 10% chance it's actually going to make it, you just don't ever give up. You know, you just go all in, even if it completely didn't work the first time, which it did. I heard it was fantastic. You know, I wasn't able to be there, but I've been really thinking a lot about that, though. It's like just going all in, leaning in, you know, and just giving it all you've got because you do believe in it. And I think that those are the things that will push somebody to really be able to live their dreams. At some point, you've got to stop being afraid, right? Yeah. You know, and again, just don't wait to, you know, get sick or get too old. Like today's the day, you know. Like it's not the diet starts tomorrow. The diet starts right now. The dream starts right now. As soon as you're done listening to this podcast, turn that dream on. Go get that shit.
Yeah, I mean,
and you know, you bring a real, you know, good point, Josh, because one, we've already got opposition in our heads, and I've never thrown a convention, but I've heard, from watching and being a fly on the wall that like they're not fucking easy to do.
It's
and
so much more work than
only,
you realize. It's crazy.
and to do them successful and to actually make profit to do it again is a whole different tier of like throwing a convention. But people are always talking and saying shit, so I imagine there's always opposition outside of our own minds when we go to do something like that, because for whatever reason it's just like crabs in a bucket. No one wants to see anyone outshine anyone else, which is like how we just went through and complimented each other. It's like, it's just proof that like you need to be very cognizant of your circle and who you surround yourself with, and like-minded people that want to aspire to be and do great things. Because when you start to do and act on doing great things, like throwing your own successful convention, we've already got this we're dealing with, let alone what comes with it from outside of ourselves, but to still just keep your head down and focus on you and continue to build the biggest tower without having to tear anyone else's tower down around you. That's admirable, and I appreciate that. And it just gives me hope. Sometimes I think like, oh, it must be easy there, but then that's just me living in a facade of fake realities, and it's like, nah, man, this shit, it demands hustle, it demands respect, it demands putting in the fucking work. There's no way around it. There's no shortcuts to it.
Absolutely. And we have to break this cycle of what has just been happening forever, and that is friends and family. Oftentimes they don't even realize it, but when you tell them your dream, that fear kicks in of like, whoa, what's your backup plan? It's like, my backup plan was always McDonald's. I'm gonna fucking make it as a tattoo artist, or it's like stocking shelves or something, and there's nothing wrong with any of those jobs. It just wasn't my dream, right? Mm-hmm. So it was just really natural. Like, my mother is incredibly supportive of me. I'd love to hear about your family, Rock, if they were supportive of your tattoo dream. But like, so many people are like, even how you thought, you're like, you can't make any money. Like, there's a lot of misinformation out there. So somebody that loves you and cares about you, they're coming from a place of love, right? But they're giving you this negative energy that you have to just put your blinders on and just go forth. Yeah. I've got a tattoo from Mark Matthews of just 2 F's, which means forever forward. Such a simple thing, but I always look at that and remember, just forever forward, blinders,
Definitely. I definitely, I agree, man, wholeheartedly. I remember when I first started the show, I actually started talking about it. I thought about it in 2018, and then 2019 came around. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna do it. And we got everything prepared for the show, and I went around, trying to, spark a little interest, and I had friends that I went and told it to, and they were like, oh yeah, man, we're down. And like anything, you have those guys to say, oh man, yeah, we're down with you. And then, when it comes time to put in the work, they go, oh yeah, I have this to do. And and then what made it worse was 2020 came around. Of course, COVID hit. So now we're having to put this show back on the back burner again. 2021, it was really hard. So, I had some family members that were, as people would say, they would look at it negatively. But I think a lot of times, like you said, Josh, they love you, so they don't want to see you fail, and they don't want to see you make a mistake. And most of that is like what Jay-Z said, is he said his uncle said he'd never sell a million records. He said, I sold like a million times. And he said, and then they're just projecting,
right.
their
own fears, their own fears. Exactly. And I think that took me a long time to realize, I would say, I have this idea, and it sounded so good in my head, and I would kind of spout it off to somebody, and they would just shoot it down. And I would just be like, yeah, they're right. Who am I to dream, Yeah. So I'm here to tell you, man, that shit can come true. That shit can come true. You just have to fucking put in the work. You have to do it. I enjoy the work myself. That's something I learned later on in life. Like, I thought everybody was like that. I just really want to work all the time. And I see that in all of you. We've surrounded ourselves with each other because of exactly this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, we're very like-minded people. I believe most of our listeners are very like-minded as well. Some of them are still living in the fear a little bit, playing small. But I think hopefully through this podcast and some of these, amazing guests like you, we're giving some people inspiration and permission to live. I always say to live the life you're meant to live.
I know I get to live my life every day. Fun. Full of work.
Love that. Well, like he says, quoting Jay-Z, I heard the devil's a lie. Rock's the truth. I heard the devil's a lie and rock's the proof. Right?
Right.
Hey.
Man. Love it.
Yeah, man.
Love it. Love it.
Can you talk a little bit about the film that you're working on, or so should I have not even mentioned that? Is that kind of a secret?
Nah, man. I'm really working on a comedy. We're still getting things in production. I'm still reading on things and trying to make sure.
Right.
I'm a bit of a perfectionist when it comes to setting up something, knocking it out. It's a tattoo comedy movie about some coming of age children, and I don't want to put too much out there, but it's pretty funny. I asked Josh if he would do some of the music for the
which
film.
I'm honored to do. Absolutely,
Yeah,
definitely
man.
do it.
So we're gonna we're right now once we get Huntsvegas over, we're gonna start bringing in actors and trying to get people get the budget ready so we can go ahead and start filming this thing.
Yeah, from what you told me, it sounds, not only does it sound awesome, it sounds really unique and refreshing. It's not just your typical, the same kind of ideas of anything surrounding tattooing. I love I'm a big sucker for any kind of coming of age. I'm a very nostalgic person, so I'm like super excited to be, not only be a part of it, but just to watch it,
Yeah.
And see, this is kind of proof of what we were just talking about, like talk about a dream. Like Rock has already done all of these things, right? He's already super successful at it. And he's like, I'll just make a movie, like it's a Tuesday.
I'm saying.
Right? You know what I mean? And see, that's what I'm talking about. Like, don't limit yourself. You know what I mean? Don't play small, hip. Just don't limit yourself. Like, I'm 48 years old. I'm starting to feel like, man, did I miss out anything? Like I'm going to be 50 soon. And it scares me. And I'm just like, nah, I feel great. Like I got a million ideas and I'm not resting on any of my laurels. I'm not giving up on anything. Like, the people that have been like, yeah, Josh did this and did that. It's like, honestly, you guys ain't seen shit yet. You know what I mean? I'm about to bring it. And I know that you listeners feel that same way. And surround yourself with the rocks of the world. If you're lucky enough to meet one, surround yourself with the mats and the hips. A lot of people ask us, like, what exactly is a tattoo guardian? And you've heard me say this before, but his is a perfect example. Rock was a tattoo guardian before he knew it. But that's a perfect example. Wouldn't you say, Matt?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That's why, Proverbs talks about us finding one another and it being a good thing. It's not like Rock and I met and then we became guardians. We already were in our hearts and found one another.
Right. That's what attracts. That's why, I keep bringing back, Mexico. But like Rock and I spent a lot of time together because it was very natural. They made this amazing food for us, and it was just like we would eat, and then we would just stay up all night long and just talk and talk and talk. We're painting and talking, and these conversations they're priceless.
It's great, man.
These are the types of things that led to us doing this podcast in the beginning, right? We these deep conversations, So I'm a big believer in more stuff like that, just being open and vulnerable and like talking and sharing your dreams with other people, and just making them happen.
Yeah, there are still good folks out here everywhere. Friendly reminder. And if you feel like, I'm just surrounded by negativity, the negative people have just been louder, but there's still more good folks out here everywhere that outweighs the negative folks. So that's one. Number two, for years, we've all seen it when people's like, I'm deleting my Facebook. It's just gotten too much, right?
Yeah.
But talk about auditing your circle. The algorithm can actually help show you only shit that's going to give you life, but you're still in control of auditing because instead of being like, Facebook blows, it's like, no, maybe your feed blows and maybe your friends and who you've decided to associate with but you could hop on my Facebook feed or someone else's and it can be completely life-giving. But we're in control of that, not just on your accounts, not on your Facebook, but in your own fucking life, right? Yeah. And we constantly, as we're growing, there's different seasons of life. And there are seasons where we either re-audit our circle, our garden gets weeded, or we've leveled up and now we're in different rooms with whole new people that were scared shitless. We're definitely not the smartest man in the room anymore. It's time to grow. And it's fucking beautiful. So it's always happening as we're always growing that our circles can change. But a lot of that is up to the level or degree that we're able to choose it in this season instead of choosing to stop and be like, no, I can't take this no more. It's like, well, no, maybe you just can't take these people. And I get it. I couldn't either. Maybe it's time to cut these people out of your life, not your whole fucking feed.
Absolutely. Yeah, because it's so easy for people to just kind of like fold, right? They're like, the world's falling apart. Every day wake up and there's bad news, bad news, bad news. Fuck it. I'm bitter. I hate everything. But I still believe that people are mostly good. Just like you said, Matt, the negative ones are louder. And I'm not going for toxic positivity here. Like, I know that there's all kinds of fucked up shit going on. I know that I'm extremely privileged with my life and the circumstances that I've been given. But I do believe that most people are good in their heart, Like, have you ever heard the term chronically online? Like, that's so chronically online, It's like you hear all these things that people are like, oh, this is what's happening in the world now. But it's like stuff you really only hear about online. Like, how often does somebody come up to you at a tattoo convention and say the same shit they might say on your feed? Almost never, right? It's a chronically online thing. The world isn't so bad in certain places. It's terrible in certain places. I understand that. Yeah. But just folding because the things are going on. You're here. You might as well make the best of it.
Yeah. Well, and that's why who we associate with and surround ourselves is so important. Yeah. Right. And 5 hours with the right company and good company is more rich, more valuable than 5 days with other folks. Right.
I love that. And Rock has got an incredibly amazing wife. I noticed that as soon as I met her, man, she will light up the room. And so that's another important thing too. If you can get that, if you get lucky like that.
Yeah.
She's taking Josh.
Right.
Just kidding. He's like, if you get lucky. I'm just kidding.
No, I mean, she's the one that she overheard me talking about like what I did to reverse my type 2 diabetes. And she was like, oh, can you please help my husband? And when she told me it was, I'm like, oh, absolutely. I'd be honored to. And I actually just happened to walk up to his booth when he was talking about eating some like garbage food, and he's like, I need to cut that out. And I'm like, yeah, you do. And kind of jumped in on it, and that's kind of what started the friendship from the beginning.
So good. And you're right. His wife is so sweet and such a lover, such a nurturer.
Yeah.
And has such a gift to make you feel welcome and comfortable in your own skin. And she just honors me. We're talking about your wife, Rock, and just how much of a lover and a nurturer she is. Even at your show, I mean, and gosh, they're running their show. Josh, you know what it's like when you and Nikki and everyone's running around. Well,
Nikki talks to her almost daily. Like, they still talk all the time. You know what I mean? And like, I don't know. It's really neat to see. I just loved how at
their show, and of course they brought me in as a guest. Last year as a judge, and taught 2 TBM seminars, and it was a great honor. An honor to get to be there with my brother Rock, coming to complete fruition, manifestation, which was once a vision when we just had a phone call together, and it's here and it's happening, and I get to be here in the flesh. So it was awesome. But in the midst of all that, they're running around, handling, spinning plates, everything. But his wife takes time and pulls me aside, and like time stops to honor me, and thank me for being there. And just the level of love and class that she walks in is real appreciated, for sure.
Yeah,
She
absolutely.
definitely loves you guys, man. She that's all she talks about. She's like, babe, that's what I'm talking about. I want you to have friends like this. Because they're
Nailed the accent.
she totally hates when I do that. She's like,
Does
you know,
she?
Jamaicans do it like when you talk like that. I was like, you're my wife, I can do it. I got
Right,
that.
right. It's okay.
Yeah.
That was cool. It was my daughter's birthday when we were in Mexico, and she actually, your wife, you know, told about it, this Jamaican custom where people will pin money to their dress, you know, to their birthday person's dress. And it's funny because my daughter was turning 19 and she was like, what a boring birthday, 19. That doesn't really mean anything. But we ended up having like a mariachi band, and then your wife did all that with her, and she like got all this money and stuff. And she was like, this is the best birthday ever. This is amazing. So it was really cool.
Oh my God, that's awesome. So cool.
I wanted to touch back on what you guys were saying earlier. You know, there's a song that during the situation that you guys had at the shop where one of your brothers passed, and a lot of people think that the struggle to success is the bad part. You know, everybody thinks success is gaining success is the greatest part of it. But, you know, I've come to believe, and I'm pretty sure some of you guys, you know, feel this way as well. The struggle is really the best part of it, you know, because it really pushes you, and it makes you, it turns you into something that you never thought you could be. And it really makes your mind readapt to become a different version of you, you know.
Yeah.
Yes, brother.
Yeah, David Goggins, one of my heroes, actually Matt, or Hip's going to be doing a tattoo of him on me eventually. He always would say, seek suffering. And at first that sounds so harsh. You know, you're like, whoa, like life is hard, and why would I? But once you kind of get it, you know, it makes sense, you know, to have those moments where you live in those moments where there's suffering and sacrifice. It's kind of like you can't have the measuring the darkness with the light. You kind of can't have one without the other, right? Yeah. So sometimes when you seek suffering, you can actually really enjoy and understand the benefits of how good we can have it if we let it happen. I hope that makes sense.
No,
it makes sense in my head.
Perfect sense. It's almost like Ryan Holiday's "The Obstacle Is the Way." You know.
Yes,
and
100%.
I totally believe that.
Yeah.
Is that the song, Rock?
Oh no, sorry, man. The song I was going to tell you, it's Take Six sings it. It's called "Over the Hill Is Home," and it says, "Just down the road is shelter. When you don't feel like climbing, keep striving because over the hill is home."
Wow. Who is that from?
That's from Take Six. They're buddies of mine. Actually, the leader of one of the leader of Take Six, Claude McKnight, is the brother of Brian McKnight.
Oh, okay.
So
very cool.
If you guys have ever, you've heard them before. They're a 10-time Grammy Award winning group. They've done the Cosby Show. The do.
Oh man. And, just a little song, you know.
Yeah, you know,
no big deal.
Nothing major, but
wow.
Yeah. So yeah, man, if you get a chance, check out that song, man.
I will, man. I remember Take Six. I loved them. But yeah, I'll check that song out.
Yeah, they came.
I think did you send me that song?
Yeah, I sent it to you. Yeah,
that's what I thought. Okay,
you sent it to me too.
Yeah,
they're right. They started the group here in Huntsville at Oakwood College, and they produced their first record at Sound Cell Studios here in Huntsville, and went on and became massive musicians.
Man,
that's awesome.
Dude, that's great. I remember now. He sent me that song. I was just such in the thick of grieving. But I listened to it. I like downed a bottle of whiskey, blared that song, and then broke the bottle on my face while that song was blaring. And just drove myself to the ER. Just kidding.
I wish you were a liar.
Shit, man.
That wasn't the response we were looking for, but
so that's what happened to your face.
Yeah, that's right.
Damn, you don't need to play any Take Six songs.
This music this one just does it to me, boy. Oh, man. Oh, you're so right, Rock. And that's why we say, or the cliche thing is that the destination's actually in the journey, right? And so we know that, we're told that. And you're right, especially when we lose a brother, it's so much easier in retrospect to look back at what in the moment, in those times, we would have may have called some of the tough times, the challenging times, some of the time, whether it was stuck in this or that or on an airport or whatever, the times that didn't even seem convenient. Now looking back are some of the best times. You're right. And the struggles we went through and the growing spurts and the challenges and the times when we like wanted to give up or we were struggling, but we didn't give up. We didn't quit and we stayed in it and then bared fruit. And like you said, the reward wasn't just what we obtained, but it was who we became along the way in the process. And so we can see that, we know that. I can look back on my life and be like, oh, that's why they say things like the good old day, fucking, whatever.
The salad days.
And to me, I think what the key for us to all be cognizant of, what about right now or today in our lives? Where in my life am I living, or where is in my struggle? At one point, I'm going to look back and see such beauty in my today. Can I notice it while I'm actually in it? Right? And I think that's the dance, is can we notice it in the fucking moment and embrace instead of resist, and actually see the beauty in the pain, the beauty in the struggle while we're in it, versus just noticing it when we look back, right? And that's the dance. Even for me as a father, my 4-year-old right now isn't going to be 4 forever. And although I'm like cognizant and conscious about like embracing and enjoying her at 4 in this moment, it's feeling like it's slipping through my fingers, right? But the difference is at least I'm cognizantly trying to be more present in every scenario of my life to notice the miracle in this moment, like the 4 of us sitting down at a table, even talking today. Instead of looking back and be like, man, remember when we were on the podcast together? That was beautiful. Can we stop right now and be like, this is fucking pretty rad?
Yeah. Yeah, the good old days are like you don't know they're happening, but they're happening. This is it right here.
And you know who reminds me of that, Josh? Another strong motherfucker in my world like you, Josh, is my wife, Katie. Right? And she'll literally from bed look at me and to remind me, and she says just this one sentence to me. She says, Matt, these are our happy days.
Oh, wow.
Like that's right awesome. Now, she'll remind me, and we both re-choose. You're right. No matter what we're no matter what's going on, these are our happy days.
That's awesome.
Yeah. I'm like, you're right, babe. I'm
going to try that with Nikki, but I'm going to roll over and just look at her and be like, who the fuck are you? I always wish I had the balls to do stuff like that. Like, how long could I pull that off, right? Apparently these are the good days, but who the fuck are you?
Yeah, man.
Right. Yeah, Rock. I'm going to see you play that. I'm going to see you do that with your wife.
Nah, I told my buddy, I was like, look, man, when me and my wife are together and we're alone and she's wanting to be sweet and make love. Now, let me just say this. And just hit her with the straight Barack Obama voices.
Right. I was about to say, man, you nailed that. That was incredible.
Hold on, we're going to get to it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, Rock, you're fucking great at impressions. You've been a singer and fucking toured the nation. You've toured the fucking nation tattooing. You're an amazing tattoo artist. You got an amazing shop with amazing coworkers that have a fucking app for your shop. You, unlike some shop owners, take your coworkers on vacation.
I heard about this.
I'm not in that.
And you throw.
Are you inviting yourself to go on his shop vacation?
I could be.
Go.
Except Evan. This is just going to go on forever. That's a good idea.
I told him too, because we went in the next day. I was like, dude, me and Josh and Matt were talking mad shit about you. And he was like, cool. And I was like,
That's
all
awesome,
right.
yeah.
So yeah, we're just going to keep this shit fucking going. Fuck you, Evan.
Notice who's not on the show.
Yeah, notice who's never getting an interview on the Tattoo Guardians podcast. So you throw, it's the second year, Huntsvegas. It's amazing. Is it invite only?
Yes, it is invite only. What we want to do is change the way we bring in artists, because we want to give the very best of ourselves to our community. And it's not just, I want to say this is not just a regular show, because this show is really catered to the love of the artist. I've gone to a lot of shows, and Josh and Riley, you guys' show was probably the most influential, along with my brother Chris Taylor and Indy. You guys had so many elements that I thought was so beautiful, and
Thank you.
We really wanted to give that back to the artists, to really make them feel special.
Yeah, I think that's the future. I think that we've been lucky enough to go to so many shows, we can take the kind of the good and the bad. But at the end of the day, it really should be about tattooing and about the tattoo artists, as well as the clients. Giving everybody, because it's one giant tattoo shop for the weekend, right?
Yeah.
So all these artists need to respect each other, not step on each other's dicks and stuff, and like slashing, cutting prices and doing all that stuff. So when I go to shows like yours, I see a lot of respect. I feel like some of the most respectful people certainly the most people with the highest integrity have been tattoo artists. That seems to kind of come with the territory.
Yeah,
I appreciate
I never want the community sees us as in a different light. I remember watching one episode when you guys were talking to Nico Hurtada about leaving this industry better than we found it. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the goals for me with Huntsvegas, is to leave this a lot better than I found it. So for the things that I see that are missing, and I'm sure you do this as well, Josh, you find things that are missing in this industry with the love and the rate of care that we have for our fellow artists.
Right.
Sorry,
absolutely.
Guys. Camera went out again.
We can still hear you, so it's all good.
Great. Well, I can. Yeah. So I really want to push.
We'll replace you with Evan.
Yeah, just put Evan's picture up there. Just put his picture up there. We'll be cool.
We just take a commercial break to critique Evan's painting and be like, "This isn't a fucking cat. This ain't how a cat's fucking body is." Dumb fuck.
I'm sorry, Rock.
Hey, Hip, while they were talking, while we're on this technical break here, I was thinking you and I should start our own show, and we could call it Hunt's Evergreen.
Huntsgreen.
Huntsgreen, right?
Huntsgreen.
Or Ever Vegas.
Hunts for Green.
I was going to do a version. I was going to do one in Portland, but I was going to call it Huntsvegas also. now with more rock.
Rock Vegas.
Right, Rock Vegas. There you go.
Shit. Love that.
Rock, it's no surprise that fucking we're friends, because you have what I want and I got to be willing to make the effort to get it. So I must do what you did to get it. You're an inspiration to not only me, but I think it's safe to say Matt and Josh as well. And I can't wait for fucking Huntsvegas this year, and see you here in a couple weeks at Evergreen.
Yeah. Man.
Well, Rock, unlike Hip, I'm your brother and friend just because I love you for who you are. I got my own bag. I don't need none of what you got. And I just fucking love you, man. Hey,
awesome.
I'm just playing.
It's real small. It's tiny.
I love you, man. I love you, Rock. It's been awesome getting to know you, and I'm so glad for our time in Mexico and all those late night talks. And it was so awesome to watch you paint. Like I said before, I've got a painting in my house from Rock of Elvis. I think
that
it's
was
one
my
of his
first one,
first, maybe your first painting, and it's amazing. So I'm super glad that I was able to be instrumental in helping you kind of find your footing on that. That was really cool to watch unfold.
Yeah, man, you definitely did. Garrett, thank my brother Garrett too, because I almost drowned in Mexico. By the way,
I forgot. That's right. I heard about this.
Yeah, on the yacht, man. I ate some sandwiches and I got to the island off the boat. Hey, look, Hip, do not laugh. This is not funny.
I almost drowned. I ate some sandwiches.
Yeah, I ate some
There's your headline right there, Mike. Put that for a viral video. The Rock almost drowned after eating sandwiches.
That would have been suitable. Yeah, thank you, Garrett. We have all these hashtags. Hashtag Garrett saved my life.
Because there was one more sandwich, but Garrett took it. He was able to stay up like a bomber.
I heard that he just was like smoking a cigarette, saw you drowning, like took a puff and was like just jumped in with his hat and everything on.
I'm gonna tell you, I caught a cramp, right? And so my wife's filming me from the yacht, and so I'm like, help. And she's like, "Are you sure? Are you just playing? Are you joking?" I'm like, "No, I can't use the right side of my body." And
Damn.
it took her a little while before she realized I was actually drowning.
Oh my God.
Oh, because like you cramped up from eating sandwiches.
Yeah, it was the sandwiches, man. You know, it's definitely those sandwiches.
You see Hip's brain working there. That little hamster's. He was taking a break, but he's back.
Well, I'm a man. I'm a man. I can jump in the water after I eat and be fine.
Next time I wear my smoothies.
Water wings.
He's all in an inner tube with the sandwich. Hey, but so Garrett. So at what point take us back to what did Garrett do?
Garrett, he jumped right in the water. And here's the bad part was, you know, when I got to shore, I was like, I'm already feeling these cramps. And I was like, okay, I can't be a punk. All these people are out here and they're swimming good. And I can't be the only black dude that can't swim. And I made it. So I see Garrett go back in. I'm like, well, Garrett can fight these waves. I can fight these waves with this cramp. I'll be okay. So my ego got the best of me, and I got probably maybe 5 feet away from the boat, and it was like, yeah, we're sorry, we're checking out on you, buddy. And you know, I think the worst thing was my wife filming me while I'm dying slowly.
Gee.
But she,
and you showed up with a bunch of really high-end camera equipment, so she filmed you in like ultra HD.
Right.
Slow motion.
Oh my God.
Well, I think we're all glad that she saved you, or that he saved you.
Yeah.
And because otherwise, I don't know if we're gonna be able to fill the slot today. We had to get Evan or something. So we're glad you lived.
He keeps bringing it back. I fucking love it.
Where are you, brother?
Oh my God. And last but not least, because I love that you're just listing off everything that Rock is and is about and he's built. He's also a father. How many kids do you have, Rock?
I have 6 between me and my wife.
That's what I thought. You know?
6 kids.
Any of them seem interested in art?
I have one that's interested in art. He does his own T-shirts and clothing.
Oh, cool.
So he's working on that.
So if one of your children wanted to be a tattoo artist, do you encourage that?
I would, but man, it's funny. They don't seem to want to go in my direction. You know.
Same with my kids. Like my daughter sort of talks about it, but sometimes it's always like it's almost like a backup plan, and we're always like, no. That's tattooing is not a backup plan. You know, it will swallow your life. Yeah. But my son's not interested at all. So it's interesting. They're going to rebel no matter what, right? Even if it's the coolest job in the world, they're going to rebel.
Yeah, they're definitely going to do that. We have I've tried to get my kids at the shop, and you know they want dad to give them tattoos. They just don't want to be a part of the industry.
Does dad? Has dad ever given them one yet?
No. Because they got to earn it.
Man.
They have to earn it. You know.
Come on, Rock. Come
big
on,
the
man.
kid work.
I'm fucking in that entangled boat right now because
He
my
doesn't have time to
18-year-old.
tattoo his kids. He's taking his shop on vacation. You know, take some notes.
Man.
Take some notes, Matt.
That's right. Good shit. Have his kids get tattooed in Gatlinburg.
It's his kids and hip.
More interested in the internet. Internet, man, I'm gonna go crazy.
Man, that's good. Yep. Oh, I love that. I
Yeah,
love that. That's so good. Yeah, it's tough. My 18-year-old son wants me to tattoo him. His first tattoo, and he's talked about it for years. But Rocky's wanting basically a fucking leg sleeve or from his ankle to his almost his rib cage.
Oh,
like
wow.
a big snake and cobra. And like, I'm like, damn. Like, and I've had the talks
Go
with
big,
him.
go home.
Right. You know, and it's that fine line of like, just really, really, really making sure we all know whatever we thought was cool at 18, we don't at 28, you know.
Right.
I don't know. If I wanted a giant cobra up my fucking leg and it was going to be a badass show-stopping piece, I think that would be pretty cool fucking at 17 or fucking 77.
Well, between us, instead of laying the whole thing out, I've decided, you know, I'm just going to do the head first, which is like on his ribs, like creeping out of his hip line, and call it there and hope maybe he'll be cool just riding with that before we take the whole body all the way down his side and, you know, all that. But
Right.
we'll see.
Well, at least
Yeah,
your
it's tough.
kid's not going to scratchers to get them. My daughter made me mad. She went to a scratcher to get a tattoo against my will. And now she's like, Dad, can you cover it? I'm like, nope, you're stuck with it.
You made your decision.
Yeah, you made it. Now live with it a little bit.
Yeah.
You know, I'll eventually cover it.
Man. Well, the good thing about that story is at least she's not happy with it. It'd be way worse. She's be like, yeah, I'm going back on Tuesday.
Right. She doesn't even ask to get tattooed by her dad at all. She's just stoked on the scratcher work.
That's right. That would be the worst.
Right.
No.
You really
No.
have nothing on this.
That's right. That's right.
The realism is so real you can actually feel it.
Yeah,
You're like,
that's right,
that's
man.
called
My
scarring,
shit's-
honey.
Yes, how
Yeah,
right it is.
man.
It's 3D.
You know, I had a guy come in the shop one time that said that he had a basketball tattooed on him, and he's like, they did this new technique where it's 3D, and he's like, feel it, you can feel the bumps on the basketball. I'm like, damn, man. Just like it's all scarred up, you know? I'm like, I'm getting ready to do the bumps on the basketball. I just run my needle on my counter. Okay, here we go.
You don't even need ink.
Right?
Sink it. Gee. Man. Hey, and wrapping up, what's I'm trying to think of the best way to ask this. You know, because life's the one constant about life is that it's always changing, right? But even with our industry, and the tattoo industry, even this show, what do you see right now in the industry? Or what's a sense or a wake that, if any, do you see like hitting our industry right now, whether it's a new sense of or a wave of or a that's what I'm caught up in language on the best way to ask this, but almost what, if anything, do you see on the horizon of the industry right now, just from your vantage point?
I think I see a lot of younger people coming in, and they're really changing, and they're fast at picking this thing up.
Yeah.
I also see one of the things that I'm a little bit worried about, but I think all of us will come together is the political side of the government stepping in on our toes, and major corporations coming in trying to get a part of this industry that we hold so dear. So that would probably be one of the things that I'm more concerned with.
Yeah, some of that political stuff is scary. I'm pretty sure we'll have a future guest on that's going to be talking about some of the possible ink bans coming to the States. That's already happened overseas, So yeah, absolutely. And then speaking of the younger people, like you said, a lot of these people are actually they're graduating art school, and they're like realizing that tattooing is not only a viable option, but a better option than going the gallery route,
Yeah.
Because we used to have to tune our coil machines, and now you get these pens, and you're just, it's definitely easier for sure. One of the things I'm seeing that I do like, and I'm hoping we're helping steer the ship in that direction a little bit, is definitely some more positivity. It's definitely a bit friendlier nowadays, which I like.
Well, we have people like you guys that have made it a very open community and very fun, loving community.
Thank you.
I appreciate you guys for the show, because I think a lot of artists needed an outlet where they could actually see parts of themselves that they can grow with.
Yeah.
Come on.
Thank you.
Yes, brother.
Not everybody deserves to tattoo. Tattooing is sacred and should be held sacred, but for those that really do have it in their heart to do it and to do it right, I'm happy to be hopefully a light for them, at least if the show can be that for them.
You definitely
are.
Thank you.
And when you said that, Josh, just an old one-liner, an old preacher I used to hear say all the time, and I never fully grasped what it said, but it's something along the lines as, you choose to be chosen, right?
Yeah.
And, I've heard you say it in the past, like tattooing chose me, tattooing found me, right?
Absolutely.
And here, even now, what you're saying, and not everyone deserves it, right? And so that implies, well, then who does and who decides that, right? Because we know that there's fucking gatekeepers everywhere that all have opinions about even what we're doing right now, right? So who really decides that, Who would have said in the Rock's beginning days that he fucking deserved to be one, right? But somewhere along the line, Rock, Pooch, you, me, Hip, fill in anyone else who's actually chosen this, i.e. has earned it. Even though tattooing chose you, Josh, and chose you, Hip, and chose me, we had to choose to be chosen over and over again. Wouldn't you say, Josh?
Absolutely. Very well said. Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I think that a lot of tattoo artists, you'll hear them say that, people get so upset because they're trying so hard to break into the industry, to get an apprenticeship, at an actual shop that cares, and they're not just going to take advantage of them for free labor. And then, you're just like, I was working at Subway and a guy came in and saw my sketches, and just like, you should tattoo, just kind of just showed up and, fell in their lap, but I do believe tattooing chooses you. I hear that so much, and it definitely chose me. And I'm sure it chose you guys.
What's your Goggins quote that you like and shared a minute ago?
Seek suffering,
which is choosing to be chosen.
There you go.
I could understand what you were saying better in Gatlinburg, maybe.
What? The fuck?
I can't really hear it and understand it here. Maybe Hawaii. Maybe I could grasp what you were trying to say.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'll have to test that out.
Yeah.
Okay.
I wish I could understand.
What's funny to do though is to knock down your percentage of what you get at the shop, because you're talking so much shit about your boss. I got you, Matt.
You'll be able to go on as many trips you want to.
That's right. That's right. 90-10. Brother Rock, thank you for serving us from your table today, man. My
Thank
God.
you for having me, man. This has been fun.
Yes. Good, brother. Good. Yep. Thank you for all that you do for us, for the industry. I love your heart, brother, and we're so looking to meeting up with you come June 9th. It's going down. All of you listeners, if you want to surround yourself with great art and artists, my goodness, head to Huntsville, Alabama, to the Huntsvegas show, June 9th, 10th, and 11th. Like you said, all the Tattoo Guardians will be there, which is rare and a rare occurrence in shows in the world. I only know of 2 that the Tattoo Guardians will be at this year, and it's the Evergreen Invitational in Oregon coming up here in just a couple weeks, and then Rock Show in Huntsville, Alabama. Those are the only 2 so far that all 3 of us are going to be at, right? Which is beautiful. Steve Butcher's coming, Pooch is coming. You know, the list just goes on and on. Joshua Carlton's teaching there. I'm teaching there. You're teaching there. It's just going to be a wonderful time. Side note, I can't believe I didn't bring this up earlier, just from like being an artist and being a creator, appreciating creation, right? I'm so glad when God had his palette that he didn't just have one color, right? And when he made us all walks of life in different colors, right? Oh, I love that. But one thing I really noticed, observed, and fucking appreciated at Rock Show, at least in my experience, I've been in a lot of shows, there were more black tattoo artists at Rock Show than any other show I've ever been to. And that alone was fucking awesome.
Yeah, we want to try to open up a door. One of the things I used to hear a lot from black artists was their lack of inclusion when it came to boards and things like that. So we wanted to open that door.
Come on, man.
And I don't want to, you know, to place it like, you know, there's not enough. I think the problems is that sometimes, you know, like you said, we got to create the things we want in life, and we got to go after it and strive for it. I don't believe I come from a mixed background of family, and I don't believe in, you know, making excuses or using my color as an excuse to either minimize my abilities, you know.
Right.
So I definitely we definitely just want to do that just for to show these brothers some love for the work they commit to.
So beautiful, Rock. Yeah, I just had to acknowledge that, and hope to see that again this year. You know, so I say that just the inclusion, the versatility, and you know, we know there's a, you know, my God, it's just fucking beautiful. I loved it.
How many really great artists, you know, black artists out there that do amazing work. They're just not getting the notoriety. And some of that, you know, if I'm to be at all honest, some of it's, you know, in their character, and then some of it's just in the fact that they're just they're not in the right place with the right circle.
Mm-hmm. And I see you just like boom, blowing that wide open.
Yeah, that's
with
awesome.
Possibility, which is huge. I also loved his show because not only there was, you know, we all know even to do a tattoo, you know, that there's still no science to this, even on skin. It's not just skin tone, but there's so many to the DNA, the melatonin, all of that. Why do I say that? Because I've tattooed a redhead albino thinking color's just going to be blam, and somehow on that girl's skin, it didn't pop. And it's like, what? She's white as fuck, right? There's more mystery to this still. But we also know when we're tattooing African-American skin that it's different than white skin. We all know that. I love that Rock's show that there were he even had categories, like, and I forget what we called them, whether it's just all black categories, all black sleeves.
Well, black, dark skin color. Yeah, dark skin, black and gray. You know.
Yeah,
that's great.
Dark skin realism, and I love that too. And not only conclusion, but then created, you know, categories just for dark skin. You know, I just fucking love that too. And there was like mad entries. I got to be a judge, but just the thoughtfulness and all of that was real fucking cool, man, to get to be a part of.
Appreciate that, man.
Oh my God, I appreciate you big time. Woo! Brothers and sisters, we will see you in Huntsville, Alabama. For real, all 3 of us, all 4 of us, so many of us. And I loved you said something more important going shows and getting hardware and all that is when family's going to be there. Mm-hmm. Well, that's every fucking tattoo show, right? Even future family. Half the family that you call family today was once strangers until you went to that show and built relationships like you do, right? So come meet us at the show. and to join family. You know what I'm saying? We're here to love and sharpen you. All you tattoo guardians all over the world. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for listening. We'll see you next week. Blessings.
Man, what time is it? 12:14 a.m. Matt, I don't know about you, but I like coffee.
You know I do, every day, all day.
Man, and I could go for one right now. So our listeners, did you know that you can buy us a coffee?
For real?
Yeah. All
Why
they
would
gotta
they do that?
Well, if you like what we do and you support our show and you appreciate our content, you can just go and click that little button that our producer Mike puts in every show and buy us a coffee just to show your contribution that you appreciate what we do for you to
Are you
help
for
us
real?
out.
People can really buy us a coffee?
Totally.
I'd be honored if you bought me a coffee.
And not only that, but we got a little spot. It's special for the VIP listeners. It's called Close Friends on Instagram. And on there, you can see some behind the scenes content. And when the cameras ain't running, seeing all the shit we'd be talking about each other.
Is that true, Mike? Damn, you guys, this is the first I've heard about either of these. So they can buy you or me a coffee.
Or Mr. Carlton.
Or Mr. Carlton. And like get a sneak peek behind the scenes.
Yeah.
By doing what again?
Fucking smashing that button.
Okay. What button you talking about? I want to smash the button.
It's the button on the fucking thing.
Okay. Do it. Just do it.
Absolutely demolish the button. But thanks for your time again, and we appreciate all our listeners.
Always.